to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to The C-Spot with Wendy Cooper, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Oh, I had to burp a little. Sorry, that was ridiculous. Oh, boy, good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, and this is the show before my one-year anniversary, and I think I've been claiming my one-year anniversary for the past 3 weeks, but next week is my one-year anniversary, and I'm actually going to have Bob Norp from the Beancast on because he was my guest on my first year, or my very first show last year in January, and I actually love the guy. So you can tune in actually and listen to Bob's marketing. It's the number one marketing podcast, and it's called The Beancast. So you can go to Beancast, The Beancast, and it's very cool. You get a lot of information on marketing, and he will be on the show next week. So anyway, today is my favorite day of the entire week. It is Thursday, and it's when I get to come to the studio and do my radio show. And you're listening to LA Talk Radio on latalkradio.com, and they do have an app. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because I need to reiterate, if this is the first time you're listening to my show, it is really all about everything you want to know or need to know about bringing a product to market, even if that product is you. So my guests vary. I have so many great guests, from entrepreneurs, small business owners, big business owners, media experts, you name it, singer-songwriters, everybody, talent agents, you name it, anything that goes into any aspect of marketing or successful entrepreneurs that are giving you marketing advice. So today I have on my show, and I'm going to unmute her because she's a wild lady, and you're going to hear her in the background if I don't unmute her. But we're laughing before the show because my guest in studio is Antoinette Perugin. She's Italian with a French name, which is really funny. I think it's really funny. Antoinette Perugin. Anyway, Antoinette is amazing, and I'm just going to give a little bit of backstory before I introduce you of how we met.
Oh, God.
Okay, Antoinette is actually, if you're listening online and you're in front of a computer, you can open up another browser and you can go to weddingbuddha.com, and it's just the way it sounds, weddingbuddha.com. If you don't know how to spell it, that's your problem.
Actually, it's The Wedding Buddha.
Oh, The Wedding Buddha.
That could really mess you up.
I already screwed up already.
Yeah,
all right.
now
shut up
not
for a
off
minute.
to a good start. Okay.
Okay. So, and Antoinette actually was Tony and Tina's wedding on Broadway.
Yeah.
Correct?
Off Broadway.
Off Broadway.
Right.
Sorry, I always get those two mixed
That's
up.
okay. It started off where it wasn't even on Broadway or off Broadway or off Broadway, but it climbed up pretty quickly.
But I think everybody, you know what? We're just going to go for it in here. Okay. So Antoinette actually, she has theweddingbuddha.com. That name came from when you were actually on television and we'll talk about that,
right,
on a reality event planning wedding show.
That's right.
And you also have been a stand-up comic. I found you on YouTube, and a lot of your videos from the Comedy Club.
Comedy Store.
Comedy Store is on YouTube, which are hilarious.
Thank you.
And let's see, what else besides the Tony? And you married Tony of Tony and Tina's wedding.
I did. I married my Tony.
You married your Tony, which he is a cutie pie.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
you
my
did
God.
your research. Yes, he's very easy on the eyes.
Oh, my God.
That makes things much more easy.
Absolutely. And your two little boys are, too.
Oh,
They're the cutest little things
They're
in
sweet.
the world.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to be, okay. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I have to say how we met.
It's completely ridiculous.
Yes,
Go ahead.
It was just, so for those of you that listen to my show, you know that I fell down a flight of stairs not too long ago, and I fell face forward down 8 stairs. 8
marble stairs.
Marble stairs. Thank you, because Antoinette was there. And I fell so hard that I thought I was lucky I didn't break my neck or whatever. Okay. So, but Antoinette was giving an event that night. You were the event company.
Right.
And she was running around the house like crazy, and there was all these people there, and she had her staff, and everything was going crazy. But you know what? You were right there when I was splattered out on the platform. I mean, splattered, right? And then you sat with me for, 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour, and iced me, and we talked. And we got to talking, and it was my pain left only because we were just so engaged with each other, and it was wonderful. And I'm so glad I met you that night, and you were my savior. And I am so happy that you're here.
Thank you. It was like a complete chat fest, and it was just lovely. And I almost felt like that we were meant to meet in that very crazy way.
Yeah, in that way that, oh my God. So when I come to today, this is the first time I've seen you since that happened. And I literally have an indentation in my thigh from where I hit that one. I can't even talk about it.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I stood at the top of the stairs when I first saw you, and I guess the wine had fallen, and it looked like the scene of a homicide. It was not good.
It was you and that little Israeli guy that was sitting over me, and he kept whispering in my ear, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't move. Don't move. It's okay. And I really thought that, I'm having hip surgery on February 5th.
Are you?
So, not from that. So
Right.
I had just come from the doctor that day and scheduled my freaking hip surgery. So on my way down, as I'm tumbling,
That's what you were thinking?
I'm thinking, don't hit the hip, don't get, so I kind of favored, I don't know how I did it, but I survived. So.
I have to tell you, very tough. Very tough. And you stayed very grounded, and that was really important at that moment.
Oh, my God. So anyway, let's talk about you. Thank you for being here.
you
You
for
are
having
an
me.
amazing woman.
Thank you.
You're actually in the middle of a horrendous move right now, and
I
you're
am.
still here with me.
I am.
So let's talk a little bit about, your background and from, your stage to your stand-up comedy to how you ended up with this incredible event company.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? I have to tell you, it was a long but not so arduous road. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and I traveled a lot as a child just because my parents were very old world Italians, and I just sort of got a real nice scope of the world. I was able to really experience a lot of things at a young age. Always knew that I was a performer and an entertainer, and knew that someday I would end up in Los Angeles. Didn't know how that was going to happen. I was acting a little bit in New York and then got cast in a show called Tony and Tina's Wedding. It was a pretty incredible story because it was a huge cattle call, and at those times I
That's
didn't
amazing.
go. It was like thousands and thousands of all kinds of wannabe actors from the tri-state area, and I just went on this on a whim and ended up getting the part. What was so cool about it is that I ended up getting cast opposite a guy named Joe Tabb, who, as it turns out, was born and raised and grew up 10 blocks away from me my whole life, and I had never even met him because I was Catholic school and he was public school. So we got cast opposite each other and did the show for a year and fell completely in love.
Oh, my God.
Pretty much from the first moment we met. And, it was just a cool thing because I was never, a girl who wanted to get married, so it was just kind of funny that I would end up in this show and then fall in love with my Tony. And then we married,
And how long have you been married?
We've been together for 23 years, married for 13.
Oh, my God.
I know. And we didn't marry for 10 years. And people said, you guys are like so made for each other. Why didn't you marry? I said, well, we kind of did get married. I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah,
if you know
married
the
like
show,
every night.
Every night. And my mother and father came to the show, and my father started crying, and I was wearing the white dress. And I was like, you know what? Been there, done that. And then, we decided to have kids. So
yeah.
then,
Well, 10 years later, it's kind of neat to have to have that event because I can see that it's like every night, that you would actually literally, not literally, but yes, you'd be getting dressed and getting married in your
and
show.
kissing the guy that you're in
Yeah.
love with, and then saying all the vows
Yeah.
to each other, even though it was silly and ridiculous, and I had blue makeup on, my hair was teased like 3 feet high. It still was real for us. So, it was a really cool
And you
thing.
only did that for a year, didn't that
Just
show?
under a year, but the show went for it. I mean, there were probably still incarnations of the show. I think we were like the 3rd or 4th incarnation. I don't even know. But, that was a really cool thing. But what was really cool about it is that I just sort of, I don't know why, but the wedding business almost became like a vocation. It was completely by chance that I ended up working down at a place called the Victorian in Santa Monica, which is still there. I came out here. I did a movie with Jeff Bridges. A friend of mine asked me to cater one night, and I said, I don't really want to do that. And she said, but, it'll really help me out. I went down there. I've got a lot of design expertise. They saw that. They asked me to work for them. I said, no, thank you. And then I said, well, if you ever need me, call me. And they ended up calling me. And
So wait, let's back up. So
Yeah.
you came because it really, it's amazing. I have had some really powerful and really amazing stories of women entrepreneurs on my show, and I gave like a ode to my women last night on my Facebook page for the C-Spot Talk, and it's so powerful because here you are. You're a mom, you're a business owner of kind of multiple things. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. You're a business owner, so that means you're a business person. You're married. Your husband does other things. You both, I think, work for yourselves.
That's right.
So you're both entrepreneurs, very successful. But yet there's this whole crazy life that goes on. And how, when you were in New York and you came to Los Angeles, because you're making it sound very simple, right?
Yeah.
You're saying, oh, well, I went and I did this and they asked me to come here and then, they asked me, but it's not so simple.
It's not. And truthfully, Wendy, I think, there's just a drive that you have. And I think I just knew that there was someplace I was going, and I knew that I wanted to grow and change. I mean, a lot of my friends have said to me, you had a lot of courage to leave. But for me, it wasn't a question of that. I just had to leave. That was where I was going. And so I really followed a path, and a lot of amazing things happened for me. I stayed very open. I stayed focused on a better life, always wanted to grow, always wanted to know about myself, wanted to challenge myself. And I kind of walked it, and I took the opportunities that were presented to me, always knowing that those opportunities are really things that you draw to yourself anyway.
Right.
And so this wedding thing was just sort of like a theme in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I marry couples. I've married
Oh,
hundreds
that's
of
right.
couples,
That's right. You're an
too.
officiator also.
I'm an officiant, I know, and that's something that I really love doing.
That's crazy.
And not only that, but I'm a facilitator for all of these brides. We do about 1,000 weddings a year. So I provide the staff that deliver about 1,000 weddings a year. So, and I'm present, of course, as I was building my business. I would be there most of the time and still do pop in. And when I'm there, if the cake is being cut, I will make it it's just something that I want to do. I am a facilitator for the love between a man and a woman.
It's crazy because that theme has been with you because when you were in Tony and Tina's wedding, how old were you?
23.
Okay.
24.
So that kind of that message has been it's like your path, in a weird way. That's like the wedding thing is your path, and you've done so many different things in the wedding genre that and you're doing something, as from an entrepreneurial standpoint, you're doing something that you met the challenges head on, and then you followed your heart, and you listened, right?
I did, because if I really thought about it, not with my heart but with my mind, I probably would have not followed a lot of leads in that direction. I never wanted to get married. I wasn't a little girl who thought about my wedding day. I actually thought in the beginning that I wasn't even sure that weddings or marriage was something that I even necessarily.
Yeah. I always thought about my wedding day, and it's something that I had one, but it was really kind. My ex-husband was up in the room the whole time snorting coke.
Oh, God. Oh, that's always
Jesus.
helpful. That's
Jesus.
always helpful.
Right. That was my wedding. That was my ex-husband, though.
I was going to say that's not your present husband that I know of.
Yeah, but we didn't. We went and just got married at the hall
At the
judges
City Hall?
City Hall. Marino and I did.
Oh,
We
you
have
could've
one
called me.
picture, one miserable picture of us.
Why was
Seriously,
it miserable?
this was like 15 years ago. We were married 16 years in March. Because it was taken by this guy, our friend Gigi, who came as our witness, Luigi Campanelli.
And was he blowing coke, and that's why the picture wasn't good, or what?
Oh, no, this is Marino. Marino doesn't do drugs.
Oh, good.
That was my other
That was your first? No, I got that.
one,
I got
right.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Marino's quite the opposite. He's Joe Athlete and all of that stuff. But anyway, no. But so Gigi took one picture, and I think it's on my Facebook thing, and it's just ridiculous. I'm going like this. Right? It's the only picture that we have. Marino's got like tears in his eyes. God bless him. Underneath that thing, right? That they have at the City Hall.
Right.
And then Gigi took a video that day. But our joke is 16 years later, Gigi lives back in Italy, and we still have never seen the video.
Oh,
Never.
That's hilarious.
And that's all we have from our wedding. That was my wedding to the man who I will spend the rest of my life
Let me
with.
ask you a question. Since weddings were your thing, and you really thought about it, you dreamed about
Really,
it, why
really.
did you do that with Marino? Why did you opt not to
Long
have a
story
wedding?
that we're going to probably have off radio.
Okay.
Because it was just something, he's from Italy, and there was many reasons.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway.
No, but what is true is that I was never somebody who wanted to get married, and yet I ended up, really entrenched in the wedding business, and I loved it, and I just knew it was something I knew how to do. I knew how to put myself in the position of the bride and groom, and I knew how to make that experience or help make the experience what they wanted it to be.
I think, do you think, this is just a weird ass, place to come from, but because you were in the show, Tony and Tina's wedding, and the audience at the end of that show so was so in love with the two and so happy for the two of you, right? And there was all of this emotion coming from the audience, you know, and at the end, and you get married. That's something that you probably bring to every single wedding. Is that emotion?
I think so. Yeah. It's like a little snapshot, emotional snapshot that I kind of captured and then kind of recreate over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It is really cool. And you know what else is cool? When I'm actually marrying couples, I think about, well, what is it that's so beautiful about this? I mean, it's lovely to just show up. I create the ceremonies, and then I'm standing there with the bride and groom. But what is so lovely and why I walk away so fulfilled is that it's really when two people are looking into each other's eyes, and usually the couples that are attracted to me are usually very much in love. I don't seem to get a lot of dysfunctional couples, luckily, I have to say. But I'm standing there, and it's like the overflow of love that's coming from the two of them is sort of, I bask in that. And it's such an honor, and it's such a beautiful thing. Whether they stay together or not, whether it is or whatever, in that moment it's pure, and it's an honor to be a part of. I love it.
Yeah, that's I love weddings. For me are they're very, very, very special. And the one that I did have with my ex-husband was a beautiful wedding.
I'm sure.
You know, it's just that I was all by myself after he said I do. It was like, where did he go?
I'm sorry to hear
that.
That's
well,
so
that
nice.
was back in the 80s, so that's why. Yeah,
right.
Everybody in Hollywood was like,
half there.
Did I just get married?
Half present.
I wake up in the morning or wake up actually the next afternoon.
Married.
I'm married? Oh, what happened yesterday? Still got my bow tie around my toe. Okay, so if for those of you just tuning in, if you're listening live, I'm talking to Antoinette Perigine, and she is the Wedding Buddha, theweddingbuddha.com, and she has owned and owns one of the largest event planning companies here in Los Angeles. Let's talk a little bit about that. So you came to LA.
Well, I have to backtrack a little bit.
I'm sorry.
My event planning company isn't the largest in LA or even close. However,
did I say that it's the largest?
Well, you inferred that, but that's okay. What I really, I have two companies. I have a company called Before the Party, which actually provides service staff for 7 very large.
Do you have After the Party where it provides
hangover
staff?
I'm working on that hangover staff who come in and service you, get you back on track. But my company Before the Party provides service staff for 7 large, very well-established, high-volume locations. They're beautiful: Calamigos Ranch, Paradise Cove,
oh, that's
Malibu,
right. Yeah, you're telling me.
Victorian and Santa Monica, the Los Angeles Equestrian Center. So
slow down. Say those again.
The Los Angeles Equestrian Center, Paradise Cove Beach Cafe in Malibu, Calamigos Ranch in Malibu, the vineyards of Simi Valley, and a very high-end catering company called Duck Duck Moose. So I provide the service staff. So my over 100 staff that I keep in my stable, so to speak, are the people that execute and deliver those events for those companies. So I execute and deliver over 1,000 weddings a year, or mostly weddings. Some are bar mitzvahs, some are graduations.
Because Jewish people do have celebrations.
They do have
too.
celebrations. They celebrate quite a lot, actually. But I would say 75% are weddings, and that's why that always rolls out of my mouth much more easily.
Okay, so hold on. Let me understand this properly then. So there's the event
venues.
Mm-hmm. And then what are those companies that you just mentioned that you staff them?
Yeah.
So
we have all of these large venues that do events. They do special events, picnics, weddings, like Calamigos Ranch in Malibu, which is 130 acres of the most gorgeous property. They can do 7
It's where they do
weddings.
The Big Loser, you were telling me.
The Biggest Loser resort is up there, and they have an incredible rehab center up there called Milestones Ranch Malibu. Beautiful facility that helps a lot of people. And so we do lots of events up there. We do events at Paradise Cove, on the bluff, and on the pier. The Victorian in Santa Monica, which a lot of people are familiar with. It was built in
Is
like
that
the late
one that's
1800s.
on
Main Street?
Main Street, yeah.
Exactly. So all of these venues do many events, and I serve as their human resources, if you will. They hire me to then hire the staff, train the staff, place the staff, and make sure the staff is doing what all of those venues need them to do. And why my company, I think, has been so successful is because I train my staff to really, I pick my staff.
Yeah, your staff was great that night. They're cute, and the bartender was just a cutie patootie.
Thank you.
And they care, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's the trick, I think.
Yeah,
for
they
me,
were all working hard. And
people who really care, who like to be in service. Not everybody does. So I think I've had a knack over the years for finding quality people who really understand.
So it's more of a staffing thing.
It is a staffing, before the party is a staffing thing. The Wedding Buddha is definitely an event planning company that I take an event and I basically create it from beginning to end.
So that's a separate company.
Two separate companies that work together.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. So that the staffing thing is quite fascinating.
For me, it's been really incredible. And I now work at Paradise Cove Beach Cafe as a consultant to the owners, and I hire the staff, train the staff, or just oversee that the staff are doing what the owner wants
Paradise
them to
Beach Cafe Cove, Paradise Cove is such a cool little place, and it's actually literally, I think it's the only one.
It is the only one you can
that's
drink
right
alcohol
on
actually.
The beach.
Yeah,
it's right on the beach.
And it's very European. We attract a huge European crowd. You've got everything from senior citizens to children, hot bikinis, Brazilians. I mean, everyone
right
comes
on
there
the beach.
On the beach, and we've really done some lovely things
Yeah.
with it. The owners are fantastic people, very smart. He actually created Gladstone's and many other restaurants.
Yeah, well, it's for the when people listen to the show, you know, people listen from all over the world to this show, and you don't know. You think Southern California or Los Angeles, you know, Malibu and all that stuff, Santa Monica. There is nothing on the beach. There's no restaurant even in Manhattan Beach where I live. There is nothing. There's maybe 2 restaurants that you can see the water.
And beyond that, there is no restaurant in Southern California that we are aware of, and maybe even totally in California, that you could actually drink alcohol
on the beach.
And they allow you to actually bring your own champagne, wine. You know, they're so cool, and it's such a cool environment, and there's no place like it.
How did they get that? Not to vary too much, but I'm just curious because it's
a privately owned beach. So
it is a
can
privately owned
want.
beach.
Yes.
And the Coastal Commission doesn't own any of that?
I don't believe so. I mean, you know, there are pretty strict regulations
Yeah.
that they follow, of course, and that we
typically
adhere
up to high tide line, they own. Coastal Commission rules the beaches, something like that.
There's totally lots of rules that we have to follow, but in essence, they're able to serve alcohol on the beach.
Yeah, so anybody, you should actually, if you're in Southern California, go down to Paradise Cove. It's very cool.
Ask for Antoinette.
Yeah, it's north actually of what we think of as Malibu.
That's true.
Right.
That's
it's
true.
a little bit north. It's
just
in
south
between
of
Zuma.
Cayman. Right. Exactly.
Right.
It's just south of Zuma. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Anyway, Zuma always brings back
I know,
these
like
memories.
everybody knows where Zuma is
exactly.
now. You're like, oh yeah, south of Zuma.
I'm going, wild thing. When I first came to California from New York with my family, I was like 10 or 11, and I had this little bikini thing. We would go to Zuma Beach and the food stand there.
Right.
This is my memories of Zuma Beach. The food stand, I would hear, wild thing, you make my heart sing. It's like, that's all I think of.
It hasn't changed much. The food stands are still there. Look exactly the same. I don't think much has changed.
Okay, so let's talk about Wedding Buddha. How did that all happen? You were on television.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a stand-up comic, and I was doing comedy for a little bit of time, and anyway, one of the guys who worked for me actually became an agent, and I guess the breakdown went out in the industry for a wedding planner for some reality show. So he called me and he said, "Would you be interested?" And he said, "They're just looking for, you know, somebody who's a wedding planner to talk about some interesting things that have happened." So I thought, sure, I'll go down. And
who was that? ABC?
It was
TLC.
TLC Network, yeah. Which I was told was a really good network, and I
is.
was a little bit nervous about doing reality TV because I had a thriving business, and then I'm responsible for other people's businesses, and I just was like, oh, I don't want to get involved. But it seemed to me to be a lovely organization, and so I went down, and then I just they asked me to talk on camera about things that have happened in the wedding business, and I just, you know, it was like opening up Pandora's box. I mean, I had so many things to say, some of which I probably shouldn't have said, but I knew that they weren't going to air it. I mean.
Well, right, but, you know, don't they look for that edgy kind of thing when they're doing these reality shows?
Absolutely. And, you know, they were looking for a personality, and that's what they got. So they hired me.
How long did you do that for?
You know what? It was just an episode. It was, I think it was like 3 episodes where it was like a challenge. It was not different.
Yeah,
than
I saw one of
Runway.
them. I think one of them was on YouTube or something like that. I did see one.
Yeah. And then so I was talking about myself on camera, and they just said, well, you are the wedding Buddha. And I thought,
oh, look at that.
That's what I am, you know, everything weddings. And so
that was the genesis of Wedding Buddha.
Exactly.
And how long ago was that?
I think 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or maybe, 3 years ago. Because then I went on to do Marcel's Quantum Kitchen. I did another reality show after that where they hired me as the event planner for the Top Chef gentleman called Marcel.
Okay, so one thing, here's from the entrepreneurial standpoint,
Right.
from people listening going, okay, so what am I going to take away from this that's going to help me build my business or help me, build my journey in life, actually go down that path of not being so afraid to take chances and look at challenges as opportunities and have the balls to just get out there and do it. And I think I've had more women on this show that have been more ballsy than men that have balls. I just had to say that. But seriously, because it takes a certain personality, and everybody, I was having this conversation with my 31-year-old at dinner last night, he really wants to work for himself, right? He wants to own his own business one day. And he had this opportunity to do something with this gal for he's in the beverage business right now, for this dry bar, where they blow dry your hair, right? And he goes, Mom, it's a great opportunity, it'd be really cool. And I said, okay, so here's what you have to look at. Do you want to do it because it's cool? Or do you want to do it because your heart and your passion is in it? It's two different things. Because to do something because it's cool. So if you're if you're a corporate captive, I call them, and you're in that world and you just want to work for yourself, you want to have your own business, you got to really think about it. Why? What's the reason? Is it because you think it's going to be cool, or is it because you're going to put your blood, sweat, and tears really into the passion and then be able to have your own business?
That's really good advice to give your child.
Because you have to, my grown
Your
human,
child, your
Jesus,
child man.
my child man, my man-child, that's what he is, man-child. What is it, that sounds like, to me, that's what it sounds like that really drove you and got you to this milestone, the next one, without even knowing really where you were headed.
So true. I don't even really have an answer to that, Wendy. I don't know why I'm driven and why I just keep going, but I do believe that the mark of a successful person is a person who says yes and figures it out.
Yeah.
And then when they're thrown something that is seemingly negative, because, life is
full of it. And they're thrown it for a reason.
Yeah, that you take that seemingly negative thing and you find a way to get through it and turn it into a positive. You transmute it. And I really, really believe that that's what we're here to do, and I think that that's probably the answer to your question. I move forward and I say yes and I figure it out. I know I'm smart enough to figure it out, and if I'm not smart enough to figure it out, I'll find somebody to help me understand. And there's always resources.
Do you think that it boils down to that your fear is what drives us, right? There's fear in life, and fear has its place in life.
Absolutely.
And fear is in our life so that it will drive us. Mm-hmm. It will drive us past that fear. It will take the challenges and turn them into opportunities, because all challenges are in our lives are opportunities in disguise, right? And but it presents fear.
It does, and I think sometimes people can be too damaged or too overwhelmed with whatever their situations were in the past. The unknown, and also maybe just encumbered by past wounds, or I don't really know why there are certain people that do say yes and certain people that just are more comfortable saying no. Sometimes I think it's just each person's path. It may, I do have a lot of fear. When I got up on stage to do stand-up, I remember the first time I got up to do stand-up, I was so terrified that I couldn't even, if you had asked me my name, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. And, they just announced me and I went up there. And then
you blacked out.
And then I almost did. I almost did, but then something kicked in. I think that fight or flight, that survival instinct kicked in. And it ended up being one of the best sets of that time. And I ended up, wanting to do it. But I remember telling my father after that morning after, I said, Dad, my life has changed because I walked through incredible fear and I survived.
Yeah.
And that showed me that now when I fear something, I go, oh, let's walk into it. I'm afraid not to reach my potential this lifetime. For me, that's really what drives me. I want to reach my potential as a woman, as a mother, and as a human being. And so I keep knocking. And always the thing is that you also have to be a little bit, my husband reminds me, to just also be content where you are, be in the moment and enjoy the fruits of your labor, because then you're just not really living. You're not in the moment. You're actually running.
It's a fine balance.
It is.
So there's the balance, which is over here, which is very difficult to find, right? You have to face your fear. you have to still have passion to grow and be fulfilled in life and reach your potential. And then you have to, on the other side over here, is you have to calm down. You have to really understand that, yes, the moment that I truly believe that we met each other, I splattered myself on those stairs and I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for a reason. I fell on those stairs. I didn't break my back or my neck or my arms or my face or my teeth, but I fell for a reason. And then what do I take from that, right? I have to take something from that experience that is going to make me grow. Okay?
Absolutely.
I can live in the shit of it.
Absolutely.
Like, I got a dent in my thigh for the rest of my life now. How weird looking is that? But, and now I'm sitting here with you, and it's all meant to be. It's all just, our lives are a progression of what is meant to be. So if you embrace the moment, because it's all we got, all we have is right now,
That's
this
right.
moment. We don't have 5 minutes from now. Don't have it. And the 5 minutes that was back there,
It's back
that's
there.
gone.
It's gone.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've learned in my old age, is that I really have to do, and I don't do it well. I do it sometimes. You know what I mean?
But you do it.
Well, I know that I'm supposed to do it. So at least I can be conscious of, this is how I should be doing things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not conscious of that, if you don't know, if you're so get up in the morning and you got to, I cannot frickin' imagine, and I don't know if you can, Antoinette, but I can't imagine having to get up in the morning, take a shower, wash my hair, put on my clothes, look great, get in my car by a certain time, and drive to work. I haven't done that in 19 years. Have to be someplace at a certain time every single morning.
Yeah, unless you make the plan yourself.
Oh, of course. Right, exactly. But to be mandated by some other demigod that this is what I have to do. And this is what being an entrepreneur is all about, right?
I agree. I mean, look at how many people are taught in the old paradigm that you work for somebody else, and then after 30 years you retire, and their whole lives are spent making somebody else money. I mean, you think about how many people do that, and I'm not poo-pooing it. I think that that's
it's okay
really
for some people.
Absolutely, and it's really what it was. But I don't even know that you can depend on now retiring after 30 years. I don't know that there's anything to depend on anymore. And it's like funny when you were just talking, this image came to mind of like a big wave that's very tumultuous, and I think if you can ride the wave with all the chaos that's going on in our lives and in life in general, that's great power under there. If you can just sort of ride it, and that's what I spend my days doing. I have to remind myself. I get up, I make breakfast, I get the kids off to school. I've got 100 staff that have to be in certain places. They have to show up on time. They have to look great, and then all the venues and things are changing, and people. And then I have the acting career, and I just think to myself, how am I going to get through this day? And I just say, well, just ride it. Chaos is beautiful. It has power to it. Look at the universe, how it's created in chaos, but there's some order to it all. And I just ride that wave through the day and through the week and through the month and find my joy in the meantime. It's a moment-to-moment challenge all the time.
So how many the wedding, so Wedding Buddha. Now tell me, you were telling me about before the show, talking about riding a wave. You're riding a wave to a whole new place, right? With your business and what you want to, what your goals are and what you really want to, where you want to take it.
Yeah, I've been sort of asking, just asking myself, okay, what do you want next? Do you want to take it to a new level? You want to do things you've never done before. You want to take events and bring them to a new level. And I was sort of breathing that out over the last year. And all of these very interesting people have come into my life, and we are putting a company together that will be an event planning business. And some of them are high-profile people. And what we're trying to do and will do is just create events that are just taking things to a new level, making magical events. And I think I was telling you this earlier. I take an event from the moment the valet opens your door. Yeah. And that's pretty much where the event starts, and that's really where it ends. And we take the events all the way through. What are the guests experiencing? And of course, with the addition of having amazing staff to deliver that, I'm really, really excited about the next few years.
So explain to people, because I have a friend that works for an event company in Santa Monica. I don't know the name of it, but they do things like for Microsoft and those kind of big, like events, right? And they're kind of cool, like when Xbox launched their Connect, right? I went to that one. I was up at Elizabeth Taylor's. No, that was a different thing I went to. But anyway, I went to that one. It was very small, but it was pretty cool, right? So when you say, but I always have kind of, from a layman's perspective, events are so, there's so many different kinds of events, right? So when you say these gigantic events, give me an example.
Well, I would say, people that have a lot of money that want to maybe, rent a yacht and take 60 people out to Avalon and have a clam bake on the beach and have, 5-star service, and then have the event to turn into, an evening event.
An orgy.
An orgy. Exactly, if that's what they want.
A mud orgy.
Just providing amazing quality events with amazing food. And now a lot of people are wanting to
No budget,
yeah.
Budget is not an object.
Just there's money is really not an object.
Yeah.
Working on that level. And so that's very exciting.
Can I be your secretary? Can I be your assistant?
You'll be my guest.
Especially for the naked mud wrestling ones.
Exactly.
And now for the event of the evening, and Antoinette Perugine and Wendy Cooper, mud wrestling.
That actually sounds really fun.
It could be. So I think that's really exciting. What's the ETA on that, or do you know?
It's actually in the next few days. The website will be up, and so
you can't make that official announcement.
I can't make the official announcement. Maybe in the next time you have me on your show.
Oh God, I don't have the exclusive.
I know. I almost pushed this interview because I thought it would be really great to be able to announce it, but next time. But it's all really exciting. I'm really excited about where life is heading.
So, in your stand-up comedy act, was there? Do you have like one favorite one, like a shtick that you do?
Yeah. Well,
not to put you on the spot, but I think it would be funny.
I just, it was always really funny. A lot of my comedy really happened to me, which is really sad. But
it's not, because I told you when I met you, I said I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy.
Everybody should. And most people do want to do stand-up comedy, and it's something that I think everybody should do. Everybody has a story. Everybody's fascinating.
And everybody has a point of view, right?
Absolutely, and that's what comedy is, And I when I worked at the Comedy Store, Mitzi Shore, who owns it, called me a storyteller. I wasn't like a set up punch.
Yeah.
I would tell stories, and one of the things I think that people knew me for was the fact that my name is Antoinette Perugine, but I grew up in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was a pretty harsh environment. I mean, you had to have a tough skin.
Yeah, and you have this
Brooklyn.
if people were to think, if you take Antoinette Perugine's name and imagine what she looks like, you've never seen her before. What are you imagining? It's radio, so we can do this. What are you imagining? I imagine, this blonde hair up like Antoinette. What's her name? In the old days, and then Perugine, she's just got dripping in jewels and blue eyes. And
all right, Wendy, tell them what I really look like.
Yeah, that's right.
I look like Joan
the Brooklyn
Jett on crack.
Italian. You're beautiful with dark hair, dark eyes, but the Brooklyn, totally
Italian Brooklyn girl for sure.
Totally. So anyway, go ahead.
But anyway, so when I was growing up, nobody got to keep their name, So I used to play softball, and my nickname, they coined me very early, was Antoinette Perugine. So that's how I grew up. And I'm not even joking. The nuns called me Antoinette Perugine. So that was a pretty tragic way to grow up. And I have to tell you, that comedy routine became so famous that I remember calling up Spago's one night and just saying, I wanted a table for, 7 o'clock. And I gave them my last name. And I said, Perugine, can we have your first name? Antoinette. Antoinette Perugine is what I got. I swear to you. Yeah. Oh my God. It was.
Oh my God. So
like
that was the story
for.
that you told at the comedy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Antoinette Perugine.
Yeah.
That's going to be the name of this show now.
Oh,
you know
great.
that.
Thank you.
Only it's going to be phonetically spelled, so
Exactly.
people totally get it. Antoinette.
It was a very.
It could have been worse. It could have been Peravagina.
It could have been. Thank God for me. It wasn't.
And you got the twat in there.
I got the twat in there for sure.
Super Antoinette Perugine.
But I have to tell you, it makes you very tough, and it growing up in Brooklyn makes you tough, but it makes you really smart and makes you quick on your feet. So I'm really grateful for growing up there, and I grew up with the most amazing girls that I'm still in touch with.
Oh, I'm
thanks
sure.
to Facebook.
Yeah.
No, it just was a great group. And I went to Catholic school my whole life, and I went to, all girls
I'm sorry.
high school. Yes, well,
I'm so sorry.
I'm working it through.
That is so weird. All girls high school.
Yeah, I wore
also?
a uniform my entire school, all of my school years I wore a uniform.
Oh, that's why you got those leather pants on. Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm really messed up.
No, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm
Probably that's where
autistic.
your sick, twisted humor comes from.
Exactly.
Seriously. Did you have to sing in Tony and Tina's wedding? Was that a musical?
I had to dance though,
Yeah,
because
dance.
Tina was like really into dancing, so she did. I think it was Paula Abdul's. She performed at her wedding and did some really.
So you had to do that. Was that the only one thing that made Paula Abdul
I think
famous? Remember she did that one, I forget.
It was Cold Hearted Snake. I think that was
Yeah.
what I had to do.
Yeah.
But I love dancing, and I'm a gymnast, and I juggle,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I ride.
I was too.
You were.
Yeah. Look at that. What sign are you?
I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra.
Gemini
yeah.
rising. What is your rising sign?
Pisces, Scorpio rising.
Oh, lots of water.
Liz Taylor, yeah, and I'm
Wow.
Aquarius moon. This I'm all water and
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're very emotional.
yeah.
I would think you'd be
I'm
very emotional.
sensitive. But anyway, when I had my chart done last year, and I found out I was Scorpio rising. My Scorpio is what people see. The Scorpio is what people see in
Right,
me.
right.
The Pisces is what people don't see.
What you are.
Is what I am,
inside, yeah.
right? So people always think, oh, well, you're so, dynamic and this and that. Well, in reality, I'm not. My inner self is very much, I like to be alone. I'm very creative,
reflective.
but I'm reflective, and I do
Lots
like
of
to be alone.
imagination. Yeah, my
Exactly.
sister's a Pisces, my father's a Pisces, my son's a Pisces.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
What are the birthdays?
February 23rd, 25th, and 13th or something.
Of February?
Yep.
Yeah, my son Chance, who's the artist, he's a Pisces.
Chance. I'm
Yeah.
going to meet Chance soon.
Yeah, he's the Pisces. So, and then my sister's a Pisces. A lot of Pisces in my family. My husband's a freaking Gemini.
Oh,
Oh
I'm
God,
sorry.
are you kidding?
so sorry
yes.
for you.
Apologize again, please,
Yeah.
because I need
So
all
sorry.
the
I'm a
apologizing
Gemini rising, so
can get.
I get it. My husband's an Aries.
Oy.
But
Well,
so
Aries, yeah.
That's exhausting, but very exciting.
But
But oh, so exciting.
what's funny is I was thinking to this morning. I always mention Marino, who's my husband, Crazy Italian, on the show. But I always give comparatives or something that he's done or whatever, and I always say it doesn't matter because he doesn't listen to the show. So, and he doesn't. He
Until
doesn't.
the one time you said something.
Yeah, I do it every week, and he never listens. So last night, after I gave my oldest son at dinner the 1-2 punch, right? I go home, and because I asked him, I said, well, Wyatt, you really should listen to my radio show. Have you ever listened to my radio show? Because, it's all kind of about marketing and entrepreneurship and all of this. And he goes, no.
But never has
He's
listened
never.
to the show?
Chance has listened, right? My youngest one,
Right.
who's 21, right? But Wyatt has never listened. And now this guy is in his car all the time because he's in beverage, territorial manager for beverage.
Right.
You can listen to it whenever you want, right? Anytime. And Marino is always in front of his computer. He can listen to it anytime. Anyway, that's not my point. My point was that I was in my bedroom last night and I thought, what is it that if it was my mother or father that had a radio show, would I listen to it? Would I listen to it? Why don't they? This is the Pisces in me. Why aren't they listening to my show? I mean, isn't it kind of cool that their mom has a radio show? Mm-hmm. Right?
What did you come up with?
I probably wouldn't listen to my mom's radio show either. I mean, I don't know.
They will, though. You have to know.
Yeah,
they
when I'm
will.
dead.
Right. They'll go through your archives.
Exactly. They go, didn't she have a radio show or something like
she
that
once
once?
say something really weird about me?
Let's listen to those. And then they'll sit crying. Oh, we should have listened to her voice. We miss her so much. Yeah, right. Listening to this show, 10 years from now, you listening?
Well, what is that saying? A prophet isn't welcome in his own home.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
I think it's, so I don't know. I don't know why I even brought that up, but I just thought it was weird. Anyway, let's get back to you. We have 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. And, okay, let's so talk about anything you want to talk about now. Is there where to contact you, how to contact you if people need your services?
Well, you know what? They could go to the Wedding Buddha and just contact. You just click on contact, and that'll send me an email inquiry, and then I'll get in touch with them. I'm really good about calling people back.
Well, I hope so, because is that where you get your business?
Exactly. But to me, I have to tell you, what's most interesting is really what this show is about. Why you do this show. What makes a successful person. I'm always trying. That was your water, wasn't that?
Yeah,
that wasn't a burp.
No, that wasn't.
Okay, good. What makes people successful, and what drives people, and also how to really face yourself.
Yeah.
And face the reasons why. Even to notice sometimes. I spend a lot of my day noticing why I react and why I may not do something, and what are the reasons for why I'm reacting. You're in the world and people are there and you run into people all the time. I'm very careful now to watch my reactions to things.
Yeah.
And to
treat thy neighbor as thyself.
Absolutely. And also, if somebody does something to you that doesn't feel right, I'm always very careful to say, well, what is it about me?
Me, right.
Yeah, that brings, is this something inside of me that this person is helping me in a weird way
Right. Well,
to bring it up?
That's right.
Or is it something where, you know what, this person isn't being very nice, and I don't really like the vibe I'm getting. But sometimes I'm finding lately that the vibe really is something that is not resonating inside of me. There's something that I need to look at.
Yeah, they're a mirror of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when something like that happens, my spiritual teacher would tell me that everyone else is when you see something that you don't like in other people, they're in front of you to show you the thing that you need to correct in yourself.
Absolutely. I truly believe that. I believe that
it's a hard thing to grab onto.
It is, because you have to own up to your stuff. And I just always think to myself, if you can deal with what's in front of you, then you won't put that experience up again and again and again. So I'm really, this concept of what your show is about and understanding what makes somebody do the things that they do is really interesting to me. So I commend you for it.
Oh, thank you.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, I needed to. I like to have a place where, and I hope that the message gets across that anybody that listens can have, number one, have fun listening, because it's not a question and answer, back and forth boring talk show. I don't think. But also at the end of the show, take something away that can help them in whatever way it might be.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be that, you're going to run off and bring your product to market, bring yourself to market. You are your brand. We hear all of that stuff all of the time.
Yeah.
But the theme that always kind of comes through when I have someone like yourself on the show, that's not like a service provider or something like this, on the show, is that if you face your fear and you see the fear, you face it, and you understand that life is not a bowl of frickin' cherries, and you cannot pick those. Even if it was, you're going to get some sour ones or some rotten ones, and you have to, or you need to understand that, notice it, and if you truly want to be your own boss or have your own business or bring a product to market, it's tough. It's tough. And it's scarier than shit, because one day you're rolling in it and the next day you might not be, because it's all up to you. You're buying the pens, the paper, you're paying for everything. It's all on your shoulders to make it work, right? But at the end of the day, it's such a wonderful thing to know also at the same time that you've
created it.
You've created it.
You've created it, and you are responsible for it, and it's a pretty exciting prospect. I have to tell you, as you're talking, I'm thinking about being in service, and that's what I think this show is sort of doing.
Yeah,
and it's really pretty much it's just what I live by. I live by just being in service of the people that are in front of me, and I really believe that when we're in service of each other, that's where community is created, and that's pretty much what the world is, one big giant community.
And then it all comes to you, doesn't it?
I believe so, and it sounds like party throwing is a little bit like, it can be pretentious or it's superficial, but to me, life is one big party.
It's a celebration.
It is.
It's like when somebody dies, you're not mourning their death, you're celebrating their life.
Absolutely.
And God, I can't get that through people's heads, and then that soul is just moving on to a really beautiful place, and that's you celebrate every day. Just celebrate every day, because in every moment.
You don't get it back.
You don't get it back.
Absolutely.
I always have to do this. So we have about 45 seconds left. And so I want to thank you before I get into my end of the show stupor that I always go into.
Thank you so much for having me. You're wonderful, and I'm so happy Not that you fell down the stairs. But that I was
I'm kind of happy that I fell down the stairs.
Actually, I was there
Oh, God.
to meet you, and
I was so happy
be in
that you were
service of
there.
you.
Because you know what? I would have just been sitting in that room feeling tortured. Because when I came out of the room that night, nobody even knew. Oh, you're the one that fell down the stairs. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Life
I was in
continued on.
shock for weeks after that. Seriously shocked.
I know, honey. I know.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you
and
for having me.
If anybody wants to. Oh, I got 15 seconds. Okay, so if anybody needs theweddingbuddha.com.
www.theweddingbuddha.com. Just send me an email, and I will love to talk to you all.
And I will see everybody next week. This has been Wendy Cooper at the C Spot, and you can find us on latalkradio.com or on iTunes podcast. And have a really great week, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
You're listening to The C-Spot with Wendy Cooper, right here on LA Talk Radio.